true. It never is, unless you are willing to admit that the blue is not as empty as it seems when you are in it. Looking back, you can always see that it harbors some dark spot approaching from a distance and a direction where you would not normally think to look. Things had not been good between her and Leo for many months, a fact which Della blamed on herself and all the time she put into her mother's care, and then her mother's dying, and then all the work it takes for someone to be entirely dead in the sense of property and law. At the time, Leo's distance seemed to represent deference for her involvement in these things, or, more likely, the natural shrinking of a man away from anything organic, like sickness, menstrual periods, or grief. The night before the phone call, she had been thinking of things to do that might reverse the situation. A confrontation, a hurt and studied coldness, perhaps a trip away for a few days, though where she might be welcome on such short notice, where a sudden visit might be thought natural, she could not imagine, for it was not like her to go anywhere overnight without great forethought and preparation. Or she might simply walk around the mall and have dinner by herself in a clean little place with croissant sandwiches, where a woman alone would not be a subject of prurient thoughts, would be only a shopper. Meanwhile, her not being home to make dinner would send a powerful signal of revulsion. Leo would have to confront her absence, which she had reason to believe was far more dignified and imposing than her presence. But the mall was not the same as it was when she would take Steve there after school for a snack and a stop at the computer store, where, even when he was small, he was taken as seriously as if he were grown up and had his own credit cards. There were other computer stores that Della sometimes drove him to, but she preferred the mall with its energy of acquisition and self-improvement. After Steve left home, though, the mall seemed to withdraw into introspection. Renovations were announced in upbeat "Pardon our appearance" signs, but closings and dismantlings were also in progress, until the mall eventually reached a steady state of disrepair and abandoned promises. Huge drapes of plastic sheeting hung from the see-through plastic ceiling, which let in rain now, and starlings. Paper cups and styrofoam containers drifted along on the floor, piling up against the benches made deliberately uncomfortable to discourage teenagers and vagrants. From the aggressive interiors of the clothing shops, clerks looked out on the fake outdoors of the mall interior, a part of the world that had died, somehow, in captivity. So she went to the mall only briefly, at around 7, for a sandwich and a turn through the department store, where it was perfectly natural to move indecisively from one section to another, fingering things or turning them over to look for the price. She would have walked longer in the mall for the sake of walking, but there were so few people around at this hour that those who were present seemed to have been chosen on the basis of some subtle defect they shared. A boy of about 10 caught her eye across a counter by breaking suddenly into an abrupt, sardonic laugh. She smiled slightly in complicity, but his face had shut down again, and when his mother pulled him away, he did the laugh again, and then again from a greater distance, related to nothing. The actual fight took no more than 20 minutes, and even that was probably more time than they needed. When Leo walked in, she could see at once that he had already appropriated the anger that should, by right, have been hers. His face was shining with it. An illicit smile worked around the corners of his mouth, already smudged at this hour by liquor and something stronger. In the 15 minutes on the phone after Della's intrusion, the teasing voice had worked changes in him. With this woman, you knew where you were. You were actually somewhere, moving along a line of development, involved, while Della was more of an environment, linked to the house and its comforts, but static. You could eat a whole meal with her and not remember anything that was said, the two of them opening their mouths only to eat or to speak about the food, words meeting bites until there was not even food to talk about. "I would like a little privacy in my own home, if that's not asking too much," Leo started, leaning with one hand against the counter to establish his